What's up, YouTube? This is Bystander X79, guys. Today I'm coming to you with my latest EDOPro replay video, and today, guys, we are going to be covering me playing Dragma decks, testing it out for the upcoming post Rise of the Duelist format. Dragma is one of the better archetypes that are coming out of that set. They definitely are going to have an impact on the competitive scene, so they will be meta. Earlier this week, I did post a poll about which version of the Dragma deck you think is going to be the best to play. I had Pure, I had Invoked, I had Necros, as well as Artifact Trap Tricks, which I called DAT. And right now, the current poll stands Invoke being the best way. I can understand the reason why. It does give the deck a bit more of a control aspect, allowing you to respond to a lot of different things that your opponent does. For this video, we're going to be focusing on a Pure build as well as a Invoked build. I found these builds online. I did not change anything from the builds, so you'll be seeing these builds in their quote-unquote raw forms. So let's just jump right into it. We're going to cover at least 3 different Pure matchups. We're going to start against Dragma versus Zombie Swarm. Okay, now the Pure version, it pretty much relies heavily on hand traps. Ash is at 3, EDOPro at 3, as well as Droll and Lockbird is actually at 2. I can understand the primary reason why Droll and Lockbird is in this particular build. With Dragma itself, Dragma can actually add cards to their hands at different points during the turn, so it's definitely something that I would definitely say would be very useful in the post Rise of the Duelist meta. Same thing with EDOPro, because Dragma will be sending a lot of different cards to the graveyard. You want to be banishing those cards that hit the graveyard from the extra deck, because they're going to give the Dragma player a whole lot of different amount of pluses. And then of course we have Ash Blossom, and we all know what that does. The deck does have a lot of 3/0s in it. That's why Desires is at 3, and we also have Upstart Goblin to give an additional draw. So yeah, the deck does have a lot of different things. We have the Dragon Fusion, Chaos Space, Charger, Light Brigade, as well as 2 copies of Necrophase for the other player. He is playing a 60-card variant, so draw, give him 1,000 life points. This deck doesn't care how many life points you give your opponent, so we do banish Second Nash, Shadow Rock, which is a bread and butter player of the deck. We have Infinite Impermanence, Nibiru, Ecclesia, Lestratos. We have Sangin, which is another great opener. EDOPro, Droll and Lock, and a floor. We actually lost 2 Sangins there, so not a very good banish mill, but still we did get into the Deer as well as a floor, which is awesome. That's just going to allow me to search out the field spell. The field spell offers protection from monster special summon from the extra monster zones to all your Dragon monsters, which is just an additional layer of protection, because Dragon monsters can't be destroyed in battle with monsters from the extra deck, which is awesome. Floor itself is a hand trap. You can special summon it and negate, target a monster in the field and negate its effects for the rest of the turn. And then of course Nadir is the road-up for the Dragma archetype as well. It sends a monster from the extra deck to the graveyard to search out an additional Dragma monster. So right now, setting up pretty well. Okay, Ash Blossom charge. Chaos Space, he's going to go for that. I'm just basically going to banish out Necrophase. I did ditch Droll and Lockbird to prevent him from adding cards to hand as well. So out comes Raiden. Raiden's going to swing over Ecclesia, but thanks to the field spell, Raiden's not going to remain on the field for that long. Boom, bam, that's pretty much that. From there, I got 2 Disciples of Nadir, which is going to allow me to pitch Shadow Apocalypse, which is to get me my additional Shadow Ruck. I did search out Ecclesia. So moving forward, boom, Apocalypse. We do get Ecclesia out, which is just punishment. So now I got Ruck, punishment, and floor on the field, plus the field spell. So yeah, it's definitely going to be even harder for my opponent to get over. Once he activates Thunder Dragon Fusion, I do flip over Shadow Ruck to get out Winda onto the field. I summoned it in defense position. This is primarily to bait an attack into it so I can activate punishment to get that bait off the field. Out comes Necro Valley, and I basically Necroface. I basically negate it. It does swing into my thing. I hit it with punishment, and at this point, he really can't do anything because he's got special summons, and he can't really special summon more than once in a turn, which sucks. He's already used his main battle phase, and I already got monsters on the field. If I would attack with Ecclesia, triggered Floor's effect to power boost my monsters, and definitely should all, when the would have went into attack position on my next turn, and I would have swung big. So that's it for this replay. We're going to go into Assault mode. Now, I've never seen Assault mode. More specifically, the current build of the Assault mode with a lot of the new support that's coming out. And to be honest, it does seem interesting. I don't think it's going to have competitive viability, but it definitely probably be an interesting road build at the least. We're going to swap over to my build. Ruck, Nibiru, Sanguine, and Perm, as well as Maximus. Maximus, you get it on the field by banishing a extra deck monster from your graveyard. Special summon, and you can send 2 more extra deck monsters to your graveyard to basically rip 2 cards out of their extra deck. Very useful. Sanguine, like I said, this is the bread and butter of the deck. You normal summon him, and there's a whole little bit of a play that can get Secure Garner onto the field, as well as additional searches off of Sanguine. Sanguine is actually very awesome because he can search out basically any of the hand traps except for maybe the Bureau, and Perm or Floor, but he can search out Ecclesia as well as Maximus as to basically give you access to a lot of your cards. That's why he's a pretty big MVP of this deck. All right, so right now, like I said, I don't really know the deck he's going, so I'm going to let him go off. Get him the cards. Out comes this, and then all of a sudden, he comes, once I see Hacker for Brex come down, and he summons out Despot 001, I know very well it's Synchro Base Deck, Synchro Engine. I know where to hit the Synchro Engine when I use the Bureau, so definitely, yeah. Activates Nessie, Nessie gets discarded, boom. Out comes the Snake. He's able to special summon the Snake. And from there, I basically Nibiru his field, and that pretty much ends his turn. This deck is pretty fragile in that regards to Nibiru. And from there, I'm basically able to go off. I did draw into Ecclesia, the Stratos of the thing, so now you're going to see things link off Sanguine for Amorai. Sanguine's going to get a search, allowing me to get into a EDOPro, going to Secure Garner, which basically prevents me from taking damage, whether it be effect or battle damage, the first time it happens during the turn, which is awesome. I summon Ecclesia, which is going to get me into Divine Punishment, or Dragma Punishment. I summon Maximus, and I'm going to rip cards out of his extra deck. From there, I'm basically just going to swing into his token and pound him pretty hard. Action is going to allow me to search out a floor for the hand trap negate, and then he's basically going to activate Nessie. I'm going to flip Ruck, which is going to get me Winda. Nessie's going to come down, and that's pretty much it for the duel, because with Winda on the field, that's the only special summon he's going to get. He could have possibly normal summoned out Chupacabra, but I don't think he has any other plays in this particular case, and that pretty much ends his turn at this point. So we're going to go into Tri-Brigade. This deck against Tri-Brigade. And I can tell you right now, Tri-Brigade definitely is also going to be another meta deck. It's gonna push for hires into the meta, definitely, primarily because Tri-Brigades require you to have Beast Warrior, or Wing Beast monsters in your deck. For hires provide you all those different types, as well as different attributes, so it's definitely going to be a very interesting deck. It has a lot of different strategies, and this is something that I am going to be looking hard into possibly building myself when the Phantom Force set does drop in the TCG, because this deck does have a lot of different control elements and a lot of different extra deck plays as well. So yeah, this is definitely something to be excited about. You can see in his hands, he's got Messenger, he's got Marksman, he's got Strategist, he's got the Airborne, as well as Harper's Featherstorm, which is just a sick card that can just shut down a lot of different monster effects during your opponent's turn. They can't activate any monster effects, so it's not going to be an easy duel. I can tell you right now. All I can do right now with my hand, because I don't have any cards in the extra deck, from the extra deck in the graveyard, I couldn't send Maximus. So all I really could do is possibly do punishment to set up that particular play. I do have the field spell, but I don't have any other Dragma cards on the field to really help me. All I got is Ash and EDOPro in this particular case. From there, he's got Sajita, which is basically a burn effect damage, which is really makes Secure Garner very important. I do Ash the spell to prevent him from adding it, but then I get hit with burn damage. Fogo comes down. EDOPro stuff out of the graveyard. Activate Divine Punishment to pop Fogo. Get Ash in the graveyard. Try to act Ashen, he negates it with Raphael, and then of course from there I activate Field Spell. I try to get out Maximus. I summon Ecclesia, but unfortunately because of Harper's Featherstone I can't get anything going. I utilize the Revenge Pop in this point to get the monster effect negate, so at this point that's pretty much all I could have done. And Tri-Brigade line is basically going to allow him to start getting into his Tri-Brigade engine, and that's basically just going to set him off from there. He's going to get out the big boy right there. The big boy here can banish any card on the field. So he's going to banish the field spell. Dragmas can't be destroyed by battle with cards from the extra deck. So, okay. So, boom. Apocalypse. Get to search out Ruck. And then I'm able to negate. Use Full to power up on monsters just to get over some of the monsters I have Ruck on the field, so I'm going to be able to go into that. My opinion, I think I activated Ruck a little too early right there. I should have waited until he summoned out one of his monsters here and changed it to that effect. Still wouldn't have helped there because it's still the only special summon at that point, so he would have gotten rid of it. At this point, pretty much all I can do is basically hope for Maximus, and that's basically what I'm going to do. I'm going to go into a Maximus to use it as a wall, pop cards off the field, rip cards out of his extra deck. He does get some more searches. I get to pop other cards, get to search another card, so not bad right now. Summons out some more Link, which is going to get him into Apex Avian for Omni Negate, so this is definitely not going to be a very interesting. I do go for Sanguine and try to loop through the things to protect my life points a little bit easier. Try to special summon. Nope, can't do that. Negates. Okay, Maximus, just rip more cards out of the grid, out of his extra deck. I'm able to summon Floor. Should have sent them to my hand and special summoned, and in turn for the effect. He's able to. I try to chain, but he turns around and blocks with the big bird. He goes into more for higher plays at this point. Boom, 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 filling up the field. He's gonna rip cards out of my graveyard. Activate Fogo. Fogo is gonna allow him to special summon monster effect negate. And just add cards onto his hand. All I can really do is swing over the big bird, try to get the big bird off the field, swing over the Smorg Link, and that's pretty much it for turn at this point. From there, he's going to go on basically to get over my monsters, and he's going to be able to draw, which is insane amount of cards. It ups the consistency. All I got is Imperm right there. It's going to link off cards. Special summon out other cards. Tries to burn me for game. Nope, doesn't work. Goes into big boy. Big boy banishes cards, and then he has me at that point. So, yeah, as you can see, the Tri-Brigade for Hires definitely has a lot of consistency. It can run a lot of different things in its deck, and that's really going to be a very problematic thing to see in this. All right, going to go right into showing you guys what the deck looks like. So this is the pure deck I was running for. 3 Nibiros, 3 Floors, 3 Maximus, and 3 Ecclesias, people can say possibly could run 2, but in this particular build you want to be running 3 because we do have 3 Desires, 3 Sangins, 3 Ash, 3 DD Crows, 2 Drone Locks. I think we could possibly swap, and it might be a little bit better. The Deers, the Desires, Upstart, 2 copies of the Field Spell. We have 3 copies of Imperm, 3 Punishments, and 2 Rucks. Extra deck, 2 All Mirages. We got 1 Secure Garna. We got 2 copies of the Wind Pegasus Ignister, 2 copies of Nist. We have 1 Winda, the Apocalypse, as well as Shadal Construct. We got 3 Ashens, as well as 2 of the Fossil Warrior Skull Knights. These are all, pretty much the rest of these cards are pops. This is a search during your end phase. These 2 guys are to facilitate this card coming out. I would think they're possibly running maybe a Pot of Arvors into to recycle pieces from your graveyard in case Winda does get over. It would be a better idea, but that's just my thinking in this. So what we're going to do here is we're going to switch over and we're going to cover the Dragma and Vote. So as you can see, we have 2 matchups. We have Dragma and Vote versus Altergeist, which is the first one I'm going to show you. And of course, the way I open up is I did open up the Alistair, the Invoker. Renryu in this particular is pretty much of an extender, but it eats your normal summon. So it can search out a monster with 1500 attack and 200 defense in your graveyard and get it, recycle it back. Unfortunately, this is the only card you can do. So like I said, it's pretty much an extender. In my opinion, I personally wouldn't really be running this card. Of course, we have Alistair, we got Ecclesia, we got Floor, we got Maximus. So we got pretty much the standard hands. I can search out pretty much anything of the R type with this. I have a extra deck negate or monster negate as well as something that ripped the extra deck apart. So not bad, not bad. My opponents, what do they have? They have Extravagance, Duality, Imperm, Crackdown, as well as Manifestation. So go for my Alistair, which is the normal summon, because I wanted to go for the Invoke plays to try to set that up. Didn't work out very well. Got impermed. Alright, so I go for Amirage and Secure Garner. From there, I'm able to basically go into my Ecclesia. This deck runs Encounter, which is essentially basically either special summon a Dragma monster from your hand or take a Dragma monster from your graveyard and either add to your hand or special summon it. So it's essentially an additional summon or recycling. It does have its uses. In my opinion, this deck doesn't run Punishment. I think that would have been a better card. Okay, get Maximus, rip out their extra decks, try to see what they're running in this, and when I see what they sent, yeah, I realize I'm playing against all the guys. I'm like, oh, goody. Alright, so I do search out the Nullus Filius off of Ashen. He does activate this, reduces the extra deck even more. Can't special summon with this, but he does get Multi-Faker. Sets 5, passes. I mean, what are you going to do? Crackdown, steal. I use this to basically pop the card to get my Maximus back. I summon out Floor, which I should have waited on until he summoned this to basically negate that. Encounter brings out Filius again. Floor basically allows me to power boost all my monsters. Well, it gets bounced because of Silk. Personal boost returns Silk to the deck. Do get the power boost from Floor, and I got my hand trap back, so boom, I'm allowed the special summon and negate effect, so that's pretty awesome. Does get rid of my Secure Gunner, but that really doesn't matter at this point. The Ecclesia. This deck runs a lot more Dragma monsters than my liking. I do manage to power boost my monsters. I managed to Ash his Multi-Faker, so at this point, that's all he can really do. He can link off into one link. Multi-Faker again. Silk. Can't be destroyed by monsters by a card effect. A lot of people don't realize that. But Dragma can't be destroyed by monsters from the extra deck, and then I summon out and Theo basically can power boost himself by 600 attack. And then you also have, and it power downs the target by 600 attack. And then of course, if it attacks, it triggers off floor, which is going to power boost everybody. I was going to basically be able to have more than enough attack points to go for game at this point, and that's why he scooped. And then of course, for Sky Striker, I actually like this matchup here. Again, we have Ranryu. It's basically a extender, but I never really used it. Striker, pretty typical Striker opening hand. He's got Twin Twisters, we can take out back row. He's got Imperm. He's got the way to get to his field spell. He's got Eagle Booster, and he's got Ash to stop me from searching. So, okay, not bad. So I search. He lets me go. He actually lets that pass with Ash. And this is going to basically allow me to get Nullus Filius into the hand, and then I'm going to basically be able to search out a lot of things. He's going to Imperm my monster. And then I'm able to special summon from the deck an Ecclesia, which searches me out a floor. Very awesome. And once I see that he's Field Spell, I know very well he's going to be going Striker plays, Field Spell into Ray into Suzuki unnegated. He swings into me, pitches stuff into the graveyard, Kagari to recycle the Widow Anchor. He then does multi-roll, doesn't really have anything to do. I overlay for Abyss Dweller, basically for Ray. Unfortunately, the fact never gets off. I am able to get out Maximus to propel his extra deck and pop cards off the field. He's going to negate and try to steal monsters, but it's not going to be a problem because pretty much all I'm going to be doing is searching. At this point, I got another floor, and all I can do is Shizuku to probably attack over the Abyss Dweller, but at this point, I can just basically bam, pop cards off the field, and I'm starting to swing. I'm powerful enough to swing over his monsters, gets Ray, the typical Sky Striker stuff, but right now I'm out-resourcing Sky Strikers, which is just insane, and that's pretty much what this deck can do. Dragmas can overpower Sky Strikers very easily, and with the fact that they ripped the living crap out of their opponent's extra deck, yeah, this is going to be a very difficult matchup for Sky Strikers to win. At this point, yeah, I'm able to basically continue to out-resource my opponent. He's going to prevent one of my monsters from attacking, but I still have more than enough attack points on the field to go for the win, and like I said, out-resourcing a deck that prides itself on being able to grind, definitely a major win here. Right, and definitely I'm going to show you guys what the deck looks like. Now, I'm just going to give you guys a heads up. This deck, like I said, is kind of rough, and there's a lot of things that I am not very favored with. So basically what happens is that this card is running 2 copies of Dragma, 3 Floors, 2 Maximus, 2 Theos, 3 Nullus Filius, 3 Ecclesias, 3 of the Extenders, 3 of the Invokers, 3 Ash Blossoms, 3 Nadirs, Terraforming the Sea, Magical Meltdown, 1 Invocation, 1 Monster Reborn, 2 Super Polys, 3 Meltdowns, the 3 Imperms, as well as the 2 Encounters. I don't really mind this. It can recycle stuff out of the graveyard, or can get additional monsters on the board. Essentially, a trap version of Ashen, and in that particular case, the extra deck, 1 Almirage, 1 Garna, and then we have 3 rank 4s. In my opinion, I don't really think that any of these would be necessary. I mean, probably maybe... Well, this is a pot of armor, so maybe him, but we got 2 nests. We got the invoked lineup of Raiden, Purgatrio, as well as Mechaba. We do have 2 Super Poly targets, but it really pays more to actually have something like Perpent and Verte Anaconda in the deck. In my opinion, basically because there's a lot of different effect monsters that can get onto the field, and from that point, you can actually just go in for things like Rainbow Neos, or even if you're going second, if you're going first, you could possibly go for Dragoon. So this is deck, like I said, is pretty rough. I wouldn't be running this Ascender. I probably would probably knock down the Dragma stuff down to the main 3. Just so I can see Alistair the Invoker, and probably would be running at least 3 Sangin in this deck, just to be able to get into a lot of what I need. Punishment would also be another card I would so be running in this deck. And then basically, like I said, with Super Poly, definitely Predator Verde Anaconda would be in here just to be able to play with Super Poly and these cards. And I probably would include a couple of the other Verde Anaconda plays in this deck, depending on how I wanted to set up. But guys, that is it for this video of me playtesting out some Dragma decks. I did Pure and Vote. Guys, if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content like this on my channel, make sure to subscribe and enable notifications so you don't miss any uploads. Check out the description box below. Find the invite links to my Discord server, Join a Conversation. We'd love to have you. Follow me on social media, Twitter and Reddit. Not only that, guys, but check out the links to my affiliates, tcgplayer.com, as well as sideofversus.com. Great resources for any Yu-Gi-Oh player. And guys, until next time, peace.